I think I've got a great little game here. I just don't know whether it's ready to show to a publisher.
Well, have you tested it 100 times?
Yeah.
With 100 different groups?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
And did anyone say anything negative?
No.
Don't lie to me.
I'm not lying. They all loved it.
Have you done blind playtests?
Yeah, I've done loads.
100?
Yeah, at least 100.
But have you tested it with other designers?
Yes, I did.
Proper, established, published designers?
Yeah.
Spiel des Jahres winning designers?
Yeah, I did. I showed it to Wolfgang Warsch.
But have you showed it to Rainer Knizia?
No, I don't have his number.
Amateur! No publisher is ever going to look at your piece of garbage.
I'm Adam Porter. I'm a game designer from Cardiff in Wales, and today I want to discuss how you can tell when your game is ready to pitch. As tabletop game designers, we frequently put ourselves under insane pressure. We set ourselves unachievable goals and compare ourselves to other professionals who work in a totally different context, with totally different resources, finances, support and ability. It's a recipe for imposter syndrome. I've hung out in board game design forums and playtest groups for the best part of a decade, and I'm sometimes taken aback by the unrealistic and inaccurate advice thrown around in these settings. Now I'm going to jump in straight away here and state very clearly that I love these forums and playtest groups. I've learned everything that I know from them, but I've also had to filter out nuggets of misinformation from time to time, and that's what I'm talking about here today. Let's get it out there. I'm a professional designer. I have 7 published games to my name and more on the way. I don't playtest hundreds of times. My blind tests are awkward and infrequent. I don't have Rainer Knizia on speed dial. I do the best I can with limited time, money, contacts and resources. And that's enough. So when is a game ready? And how much playtesting do you really need? Well, let's start with some basic truths. You do need to playtest your games, a lot. There are layers to this. You should start testing solo. Play through a few rounds or even entire games if possible by yourself before you show the game to anyone else. Cards, dice and scraps of paper are often all you need. Why waste your playtesters' time by showing them a concept that's broken from the outset? Most of my designs fall at this first hurdle and they never get shown to another human being. Now you can run your games past your family and friends. My wife Eris is my harshest critic. She likes what she likes and my designs aren't always to her tastes. But she's very honest with me and I take her views on board. My next challenge is Rob Fisher. He's my frequent collaborator and an extremely talented designer also based in Cardiff. We've playtested a lot over many years and he's my second harshest critic. Frequently, I will shelve designs that I previously felt positive about after Rob has shown me the error of my ways. Sometimes Rob picks up the baton and gets stuck into fixing the flaws in the game, and that's how our CoDesign compromat was born. If the game gets past Eris and Rob, I'll open it up to other testers, gaming friends and people I meet at playtesting meetups. But bear in mind, your friends and family might not be mean like Eris and Rob. They probably really like you and want you to be happy. They'll tell you your game is great even if it's rubbish. Take their views with a pinch of salt. Rob and Eris aren't actually mean. They're amazing. I just had to clarify that in case they're actually watching. Our regular playtest group in Cardiff has been on hold throughout the pandemic, which makes things more difficult, but I still ensure that I've played my game with strangers in different settings enough times that I feel comfortable. And how many times is enough? Well, the truthful answer is, it's a gut feeling and it varies. It depends on the enthusiasm of the playtesters. Am I getting a positive vibe from them? Did they enjoy the game? Though truthfully, that might not be enough. I want to see their eyes light up. I want them to love it. It also depends on how much I'm having to rework the game after each test. If the feedback is coming back to me that the game is absolutely perfect in its current form, and after several playtests no one's suggesting any modifications, then that's a good clue that it's almost there. The contrary is also true. If every playtester is redesigning the game in their head, then I've probably got some more work to do. I may or may not join in with these tests. In the earliest tests, I want in. I want to see how the game feels from the inside. Regardless of the other players' views, I want to experience the game firsthand. Once I've played it a few times though, I'm more inclined to sit out and watch groups play together. If I'm not influencing the session, I feel like I get a more honest picture of how the game is coming across. And that leads me on to what is hopefully the final stage in the process, the blind test. This is where players learn the game from the rulebook and play with no input from you as designer before they feed back. Blind tests can be done in a number of different ways. I know major publishers like Stonemaier and North Star Games have communities of volunteer playtesters hammering out blind tests and sending data about various card effects and interactions and outcomes to ensure that the finished product is as balanced as possible. I have no such community available to me, and frankly, it's not the sort of feedback that I'm looking for. I want to witness the emotions that players have when they play my games. Fortunately, they're simple enough concepts that my games don't need extensive balancing. Blind tests for me are about eliminating clunky, unnecessary rules which repeatedly trip players up and testing my rules writing to ensure that publishers aren't going to get the wrong end of the stick. And we must remember, most publishers aren't native English speakers. I tend to be present at blind tests, watching the session with my hand over my mouth and resisting the urge to jump in and correct the players or offer advice or excuses. It takes some discipline to stay quiet when the session is turning into a train wreck. Some designers ask players to video their playtests and then watch them back later, and I've never done that. It feels artificial and clunky to me. For each of my games, the number of playtests has varied, so I'm going to try and make some estimates from memory. Big Bazaar was tested a lot, though it never really changed from day one. It felt like it was a really promising design and I was super keen. I remember my friend Tom worked at a school and he took it in for the kids to play, and then he brought me an audio recording of their feedback. It was great. I reckon the game was probably tested 50+ times. It helped that it's short, so you could test it a few times in a single session, making changes along the way. Doodle Rush was designed in an afternoon. I probably tested it 20 times over the next few weeks, and it never changed. Every test was a blast. Most players loved it, and no one ever suggested any improvements. It was a dream to playtest. Now, ironically, the publisher, Brain Games, found a number of ways to improve the product immensely, proving that a supposedly finished product is never genuinely complete. There are always more changes that could be made. Pikoko was one of my earliest designs. I probably tested it 30 or 40 times and tweaked it as I went along. I played this one a lot with strangers. I travelled to a lot of different playtesting groups at the time, and I got a load of really positive feedback, but some players really bounced off the game and gave negative feedback. It was quite polarising, but I knew that I loved it every time I played, and I trusted my judgment. Throne was tested a lot over a number of years and constantly adapted. It included a host of different powers, and they all interacted in different ways, so there was a lot to cover to ensure that the game never broke. I constantly thought of new, exciting powers, but ultimately I had to hone it down to 20 or so of the most robust powers, which were clearer to the players and provided the most reliably enjoyable experience. The feedback was even more polarising than Pikoko, and I think in this case I could have listened more to the naysayers. I guess I probably played the game more than 40 times. Quuzzle was tested less than some of the others, and most commonly just by myself and my co-designer Rob. It's such a simple concept. It didn't need balancing. We knew it was fun, and the tests were really just confirming what we already knew. I guess we probably tested it 20 or 30 times. Zooligans is a solo puzzle, so I could test that largely by myself. I played this solo many times, but because of the more interpretive clues, it was still important to see what other players made of them. I also ran the game past friends with children to get a sense of the difficulty level and how much fun they were having with it. Fortunately, the kids that I showed it to were totally hooked. They just kept playing and playing. This was really reassuring. I played Zooligans more than any of my other designs. It's hard to put a number on it because a game could be a single, very easy puzzle, or it could be a run of 20 or 30 puzzles on difficult mode in a single sitting. It was really important to me that each of the puzzles had only one solution and that the graded difficulty was pitch perfect. I'm very proud of this design. It's a shame it's flown under the radar a little. I guess Rob and I played Compromat 30 times or thereabouts. The gameplay came together quickly, and thereafter it was just about trying out different powers and seeing what was fun. When it felt like it was working well, we stuck with it and we stopped tweaking. Rob and I have been working on a much more complex Euro game for several years. I keep a log of my tests, and our next test will be our 59th. Playtests for this game are time consuming, and every new iteration between tests takes hours to pull together. It's a different world to playtesting a game like Quazzle or Doodle Rush, and we're asking a lot of our playtesters by putting it on the table again and again. It needs to be balanced, and thankfully, it's really fun to play, but we need to be careful that we don't take advantage of our friends' goodwill. Let's do some calculations. Each of these tests lasts 90 minutes or so, and most result in 1 to 2 hours of revision between tests. That totals around 170 hours of thus far unpaid work for Rob and myself on our Eurogame, plus hundreds of hours unpaid for our testers. I'd estimate that an optimistic figure for the potential income from a Eurogame like this is short of £10,000, split 50-50 between myself and Rob. So assuming that the game gets picked up, and that's a big assumption, we're currently working at an hourly rate of about £29 an hour, and it's dropping with every playtest. If the game is never picked up, we've wasted weeks and weeks of work. This is where I think the standard advice about hundreds of playtests just doesn't add up. So my advice to you as a designer is to be rigorous and honest and introspective. Do what you have to do. Don't cut corners. Make sure that you respect your playtesters' time, but do play with lots of different groups and watch strangers playing your game. Be disciplined enough to sit through blind tests without interfering and read the room. Use your judgment, your intuition, and playtest enough, but don't try to live up to an impossible ideal. Publishers want to hear from you. Believe me, this is the most open, approachable industry that I've worked in. We can't all be Rainer Knizia, and honestly, with his massive output of games each year, how much playtesting can he honestly be doing anyway? So you do it your way. That's all you can do. If you enjoyed the video, please go back and watch some of my other game design musings on my channel. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and please subscribe so I can keep you up to date with upcoming content. Until next time, all the best.